Never painted on top of fabric before, you've come to the right place.
Hey, I'm Jessie at The Good Wrench, and today I'm going to show you how to paint over this upholstered cornice. When I'm done painting it, it's going to go back up here. But as you can see, it's really pretty, yes, but this orange goes with absolutely nothing else in my office. So it's time for a change.
I've never painted on fabric before, neither has Decker. Today, we're going to experiment by painting on this valance that sits in my office. Now, I recently refinished my office, and while I love this piece, this fabric no longer matches. A budget-friendly option I considered is to just paint over top of it to make it blend in with the colors of the rest of the room. Worst case scenario, I take it to a pro and have them put new fabric on it. So let's try painting this first. I am going to start with primer, a water bottle, and just a regular paintbrush. And I actually am going to use wall paint on it as well as the same paint that I used on the cabinets. One of them is a high gloss, one of them is a flat, so I think that should be a nice contrast. But the first order of business is getting primer on here to cover up that bright orange. Wish me luck. I've watched quite a few tutorials on this. Some people just use water in their regular latex acrylic paint and they leave it like that and just use the paint as it comes out of the can. I saw another one where they use fabric softener, a 50-50 ratio of fabric softener and paint. Because this is gonna be on the wall, I don't necessarily need this to feel soft. If I were painting a chair or a couch, maybe I would be more considerate of that to have the paint soften up a little bit for the texture, but this is gonna be up on the wall. Nobody's gonna be rubbing this, so I'm not so concerned about the texture that it's gonna leave on here because I'm not sitting my butt on it. So let's go ahead and wet this down and throw the primer on. I'm just kind of rubbing the water into the fabric lightly with my hand. And then I'm wiping my hand off because there's definitely some buildup on there. This is it. I am committing. I'm committed. Pretty standard primer here. Just slipping into my coveralls because even if I'm doing a small paint project, I'll somehow manage to get paint on my outfit. Let's put the primer on. Get this started. We're committing right now. It's nice and damp. We're putting the primer on. Just go for it. Gosh, it absorbed that primer so quickly. Wow. So I just got the surface of this barely damp. Honestly, I feel like I need to spray it a little bit more. It's still nice and damp right here, but I can feel it drying off. So might be best to spray this with your water bottle section by section. Again, this is my first time, so we're kind of learning together, but I can just see and feel that with the surface being moist with water, it definitely goes on more smoothly. I'm wondering, I'll probably come back and do a second coat of primer on this just because that orange is so strong. I don't think one coat of primer is going to be enough. Pretty amazed at how quickly this is absorbing the paint.
I used way more water from the squirt bottle than I intended to, but that just really allowed for the primer to go on smoothly, whereas before the fabric was really soaking it up too quickly.
I got the first layer of primer on. We're going to let that totally dry. We're going to come back with a second layer of primer after this, and my hope is that all this orange stuff will be covered after the second coat. I just have this feeling we might have to come back for a third coat of primer. Let me show you something here. This might be hard to show on camera, might be hard to see. However, do you see in here, I've got these little black spots poking through. Those are essentially spots where the primer is not absorbing into the fabric. So when I hit an area like that, I just go in with my water bottle, put a nice spray on there, and you can see it wipes out a lot of those little holes. And then the primer is better absorbed into the fabric. Go in it different directions, really try to get it to soak into the fabric there. We are done with the first coat of primer. We're gonna let this dry. We're going to turn on the fan, let it do its job, and dry this out. Maybe I can get a second coat of primer on it today. But for now, I've got my brush wrapped up in saran wrap to keep that fresh, and we just leave it be. I've got the first coat of primer on. I turned on the ceiling fan to let that do its job and try to get this nice and dry. I will be going back with a second coat of primer for sure, possibly a third coat because that orange poking through is so strong and vibrant. Probably will have to do a third coat of primer, but that's okay. We want to do this the right way. I say that lightly because this is my first time ever doing this, so I don't really know what the right way is, but I know that I want zero orange to show through. And then once we get all the primer on, then we're going to come paint some pretty designs with paint I already have on hand. So we'll let this dry, and then we'll flip it around, get all of the other little spots that we can't cover from this angle, and then maybe tomorrow we will start painting, and then we can hang it back up there, and then my office will be complete. Here we are after the third coat of primer. Gosh, I could put it up just like this and it would look so good. Oh, I can't wait to paint this. I have a teeny tiny bit of paint sitting at the bottom of this can. And now I'm gonna put my base coat, which is a pretty creamy white by Sherwin-Williams, and I'm just gonna paint it straight on here. Well, it's not gonna look much different than the primer, but it will be richer in color and make for a nice look. This is actually a matte finish on this paint. So it's gonna be sitting next to a high gloss finish. So I think the contrast between the two colors I'm using for this, I think it's gonna be really good. Hopefully I don't run out of paint because I am running low, but I'm also trying to make do with what I have on hand without having to go out and buy more. See right here, just a reminder, this is what this entire thing looked like, that orange and white and black fabric. And this is what it's looking like up front. It's looking so much better. I will be coming back here to cover that up as well. I am just documenting how fascinated I am by the coverage. What we have up here is 3 coats of primer and 1 coat of a creamy white wall paint that I had left over. Now I want to paint the second color on here. What I have planned for this beauty is to put some really nice looking green stripes on it. So I'm just gonna go green, and this white is the base color. So I'm green, white, all the way across. I think it's gonna look really sharp. And if it doesn't, guess what? I just prime over it and start over again. Not a big deal. God knows I have plenty of extra paint laying in the garage. Let's go. This is gonna be fun. And right there.
So you're probably looking at this wondering, why in the world is she painting in the white paint over top of her tape lines? Well, the truth is, if I paint with the base color over top of the paint lines prior to putting on the green paint that I intend to put here, that should seal up the seams of the tape and make for a very crisp green line when I put it on. So you put your base coat on first, in this case it was the white, and then once that dries, then you paint over top of that with the desired color. So I will be painting green over top of that, and trust me, when I pull off this tape, you're gonna be absolutely mind blown after this is green.
This should be nice and dry. I am actually very limited on green paint, so I gotta really use what I have wisely. Let's start in the middle, and we're just gonna work our way out, painting this pretty green on here. This is honestly the part that I've been most excited for. Oh, it's such a good color. Here, we're just going for it. Oh, I love this color.
This is Evergreen Fog by Sherwin-Williams. I love this color so much. It's all over my kitchen cabinets, and it's on the cabinets in my office. I can really see this coming to life. It is going to look beautiful above the keyboard in between my bookshelves.
Alrighty, let's get the second coat on here. We'll let that dry, and then we'll peel off the tape. Okay. This is the best part, pulling off the painter's tape. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. What are the odds that I can do this by myself? Wish me luck.
It only took me 3 minutes to get this back into place. How beautiful is this? I don't think this could have come together more beautifully. I just want to say thank you so much for following along. If you would hit that subscribe button, assuming you liked what you saw here, I would be so appreciative. Full disclosure, this is my second attempt at a YouTube long form video, so I'm still kind of figuring things out. But again, if you liked what you saw, please hit that subscribe button. I will have some more fun things happening on here very soon.